welcome back to the Gridiron Expert. Week 6, 7, and 8 of college football were absolutely phenomenal, so it really was only a matter of time before we had a little bit of a lackluster weekend. That's what Week 9 is. There really aren't that many great games heading into this Saturday. There are only 2 ranked versus ranked matchups. The predictions for those will start here on the channel tomorrow, but we were, despite the lackluster schedule, still were able to find 5 games flying under the radar that you should keep your eye on that maybe could spark a handful of upsets or maybe a handful of close scares for some of the nation's elite teams. So welcome back to the Gridiron Expert, guys. Again, here with our Week 9 predictions. College football is still college football, even if it is a lackluster weekend. As always, please continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and check out everything down in the description below, including these expert picks right here. Go sign up for those expert picks over on thegridironexpert.com. We are on a 49-22 run against the spread. Yes, 49-22 run. That's 69% against the spread right now. Do not go miss out on that offer, guys. It's a full year-long subscription, so if you buy now, you get it through Week 9 of next year. It's never too late to sign up. If you want to win big with us, you want to start winning right now, this is the place for you, and you should go sign up today. Again, the link to that is down in the description below, beating out over 80% of the national handicappers, just like we've done each of the last 5 years. You're not going to find a price like this. You're not going to find accuracy and records like this anywhere else. Go join our team over on thegridironexpert.com today. So let's take a look at these games, guys. 5 games, including a massive rivalry game down in Jacksonville, still could provide some excitement in Week 9. We start up at the top with number 6 Oklahoma at Kansas, an intriguing matchup in the Big 12, and maybe a little bit of a trap game for the Sooners, who are absolutely college football playoff contenders and absolutely the favorite in the Big 12 right now. Last year, it was a shootout. Oklahoma beating Kansas 52-42. And I can see this game being similar to last year. I can see this game being a little bit of a shootout. Oklahoma coming off their scare against UCF, winning 31-29. Kansas going to be well rested, coming off their bye week. The Sooners are averaging nearly 500 yards of offense. Kansas averaging over 443. This is a game between Dylan Gabriel, the quarterback for Oklahoma, against possibly Jalen Daniels for Kansas, who's been phenomenal when he's been on the field, but has struggled with injuries all season long. So hopefully, we hope he will be back for this game, especially after that week of rest. If not, might go with Jason Bean once again. But here's the difference maker, right? The key in this game between Oklahoma and Kansas, a game where I do think there will be a lot of points scored, a lot of offense, is the run defense. Who can stop the run most effectively? Can Oklahoma, who's allowing just 119 rushing yards per game, stop Kansas' rushing offense that's averaging over 212 rushing yards per game, led by Devin Neal, who already has over 600 yards and 6 touchdowns? That's the question mark. If Oklahoma can't stop the run, Kansas could find a way to pull off this upset. I highly believe that. But I also highly believe that Brent Venables will not allow his Sooners to have another letdown game. They barely squeaked by UCF, who Kansas torched just a few weeks ago. I think Venables shows up with a strong defensive game plan, shuts down the run, forces whoever's under center for Kansas, whether it's Jalen Daniels or Jason Bean, to win the game through the air. The Sooners come on the road and win this game, although it will be a little bit closer than some think. Sooners improve to 8-0, keep those college football playoff hopes alive. Down in Jacksonville, we've got the world's largest outdoor cocktail party. Man, this is a fantastic rivalry game. Number 1 Georgia against a Florida team that I feel like a lot of people have written off, but a Florida team that's actually kind of exceeding expectations this year, sitting at 5-2, and has certainly been much better offensively than I think any of us expected back in the preseason. So the question is, can Florida pull off the upset? Can the Gators take down the number 1 team in the country and shake up the college football world? We're going to say no. We're going to say no. As crazy as that would be, and as fitting as it would be considering the year that we're having, I don't think Florida has enough to take down Georgia. Look, I know Georgia hasn't looked great, right? I know they kind of didn't look that great against Auburn. They didn't look that great against Vanderbilt. I know they're kind of struggling a little bit. But this is still, again, the top-ranked team in the country that's averaging nearly 510 yards per game, including 337 passing yards per game from Carson Beck in his first year as starter for the Bulldogs. He's already thrown for over 2,100 yards and 12 touchdowns. He's playing phenomenal ball. The defense, you know, we can see how we want and say, oh, they're not as good as they were last year or whatever. They're still only giving up 262 yards per game. And I don't care who you are. And I don't care what the schedule's been. That's still really impressive. That's still really impressive this time of the year to be allowing well under 300 yards per game and only 91 on the ground. Meaning that Florida is going to have to win this game solely through the air with Graham Mertz. And while he has exceeded expectations, has been way better at Florida than he ever was at Wisconsin, already throwing for over 280 yards per game, over 1,800 yards and 12 touchdowns, I don't think Florida can do it. I think Georgia's defense cracks down, forces Mertz into a handful of mistakes. And Florida's defense, guys, keep in mind, they have not been nearly as good as we wanted them to be. Florida has allowed at least 340 yards in each of their last 3 games. Vanderbilt, South Carolina, where they narrowly escaped in Columbia, they haven't looked all that great as of late. Georgia wins this game, although it is a little bit closer than it has been the last few years, where Georgia has won by a combined score of 76-27. Down in Austin, BYU at number 7, Texas. The Cougars, believe it or not, are 4-1 all-time against Texas, and they won the last time at Austin nearly 10 years ago, 41-7, all the way back in 2014. It's an intriguing matchup. It's one of those intriguing games that we've kind of had circled on the calendar with BYU now joining the Big 12. But bottom line is Texas is going to win this game even without Quinn Ewers, who was hurt in last week's win over Houston. We don't know exactly how long he'll be out. We know he will not be playing against BYU, meaning they're going to have to rely more on Malik Murphy. I believe he's going to do just fine. BYU, if they want to find a way to pull off this upset, they're going to have to force the young quarterback, who hasn't seemed to feel very much at all, force him into mistakes. They're going to have to force him into mistakes. That's not impossible, considering BYU just beat Texas Tech last week and forced 5 turnovers in that game. The Cougars, guys, are 5-2. They're 5-2. They're not a bad team at all. So if they can play defense like they did last week against Texas Tech, they will hang with Texas and Austin, especially with an offense and a quarterback that's not going to be completely up to par, up to sync, as they've been with Quinn Ewers under center. But what Texas is ultimately going to do is they're going to rely more heavily on the run. This is a team that's averaging nearly 180 rushing yards per game. BYU's given up over 150 per game. Jonathan Brooks has been phenomenal for the Longhorns. So I think BYU comes in here, they're fired up, they smell blood in the water, thinking backup quarterback, we can hang with them, and they do for a little bit. Then Texas pulls away in the second half. Longhorns win, keep their playoff hopes alive, and we get closer and closer and closer to possibly seeing an Oklahoma-Texas rematch in the Big 12 championship game. Number 3, Ohio State at Wisconsin. So look, we've got the number 6, number 1, number 7, number 3 ranked teams up here on the board. These are games you're going to want to watch. So we only have 2 ranked versus ranked matchups. Some of the nation's top teams are in action, and they don't have easy games. Keep in mind, all of these, except for one, going to be played away from home for those elite top 10 programs. Ohio State travels to Madison, and to me, this has all the makings for an upset, right? You know, Ohio State coming off at a big emotional victory over Penn State. They're looking good. Some people calling them the best team in the country, or they say they should be ranked as the number 1 team in the country. Coming into Wisconsin, where they've beat the Badgers 9 straight times with 3 Big Ten championships mixed in there as well. They beat the Badgers 52-21 last year, but again, it has the feelings of a trap game. You know, Madison, not an easy place to play. Wisconsin, while they haven't lived up to the expectations in the preseason under Luke Fickell, did find a way to get a win against Illinois last week despite not having Tanner Mordecai. If their defense can stop Ohio State, if their defense can step up and rise to the challenge of stopping Kyle McCord in this passing attack, they could keep this game close. And having home field advantage on their side could be really beneficial for them. But the funny thing is with Ohio State, we sit here and we talk so much about their offense and how good they are and how dangerous they are. No one really talks enough about Ohio State's defense that's giving up just 260 yards per game. A defense that shut down Notre Dame in South Bend. A defense that shut down Penn State just last week. And if they can do that against Notre Dame and Penn State, they definitely can shut it down against a Wisconsin offense that's not going to be nearly as electric through the air as they would have been with Tanner Mordecai. They can definitely stack the box, stop the run with a guy like Braylon Allen. Ohio State is across the board way better than Wisconsin. And when you base it off of what they've done up to date this year, I don't see them losing in Madison. I think kind of similar to this BYU game. It's a little bit close early on, but Ohio State pulls away. Wisconsin defensively can't slow them down. Offensively definitely cannot match Ohio State. The Buckeyes win, and they improve to 8-0 as we wait to see where the Buckeyes will be ranked in the initial set of college football playoff rankings that will be released 1 week from today. We will have a live stream going on during that ranking show, so you can get our live reaction and live analysis for how those rankings shape out. And then finally, guys, we have given a lot of love to the Group of 5 this year, and I absolutely love it. They deserve it. Over in the Mountain West, which has quietly been one of the most entertaining conferences this year, we've got UNLV at Fresno State. Both these teams coming in at 6-1. And let's put it like this. If the season were to end right now, UNLV, under first-year head coach Barry Odom, would be playing for a Mountain West championship. The Rebels are 3-0 in conference play. The only loss they had this year was on the road to Michigan. They're averaging over 35 points per game, 216 through the air, 216 yards through the air, 210 rushing yards per game. They've been really, really impressive. So all the credit in the world for Barry Odom to getting his Rebels team to a bowl game this year and having them in the hunt for a Mountain West title. But the funny thing is, UNLV, great offensively, they're horrible defensively, and that's ironic considering Barry Odom is a defensive-minded coach. They're giving up over 400 yards per game, including over 277 through the air. They're now facing a Fresno State team that's averaging over 300 passing yards per game. Whether they go with Logan Fife, whether they go with Mikey Keene, it doesn't matter. Fresno State has the significant edge at quarterback. They own the edge in the passing game, and they will exploit this UNLV secondary. And it's ironic. Last year at Arkansas, Barry Odom's secondary was atrocious. This year at UNLV, his Rebels secondary is atrocious. This has the potential to maybe be a bit of a shootout. UNLV is certainly hyped for this game, but Fresno State owns that offensive advantage. They own the defensive advantage. They own the home field advantage. Give me the Bulldogs to get this win and keep their Mountain West title hopes alive. UNLV takes their first conference loss. Not completely out of it yet, but definitely going to have a lot of room for improvement and a little bit of an uphill battle to get one of those top 2 spots by season's end. So there you have it, guys. Your 5 underrated games heading into Week 9. Again, it's a little bit of a lackluster weekend, but these games are going to be good. They're going to be fun, and I think one of them possibly could result in an upset, or at least a very close scare, just like we've seen these last couple of weekends. We've got 2 ranked versus ranked matchups. Those prediction videos will begin here on the channel tomorrow. Oregon and Utah, Duke and Louisville. Stay tuned for that analysis. But in the meantime, guys, please continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and of course, check out everything down in the description below, including these expert picks. If you want the spread picks for these games, if you want the spread picks for those 2 ranked versus ranked matchups, this is the place for you. Go sign up for those today. 49-22 run. You're not going to find it anywhere else. No other handicapper is going to give you this low of a price and these type of results. Go take advantage of it. Sign up for that year-long subscription. We want you to become a part of our GE Nation. And once again, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on the Gridiron Expert.
Yeah.